Welcome to another edition of XFeed. My software has been sort of weird today, so hopefully everything is going to be A-okay on the stream, but that's not something for you to worry about. That's something for me to worry about, and something that I also need to worry about is coming up with a better sales pitch. So we saw this, I saw it, on the timeline. And imagine you're doing like a home remodeling or something, and they're like, you got to buy this sink. And you're like, all right, sell me on the sink. And just watch the capabilities of this sink. They just picked up. It's got catches. You can make a mess. You got the soap dispenser. You got the thing that they got on the bars. You got some cool fountain-looking water that restaurants have, and then you got a slider for the food to clean stuff off, make dirty dishes on the other side. You have the racks. It's unbelievable. Welcome to technology. Welcome to 2025, and welcome to XFeed. What's up? My name is The Schiller. We talk about NFTs, Web3, crypto, all that kind of jazz. We do also talk about it in a different sort of light. If you go and check out the description down below, or if you click on my bio on X, I got a link for the RWA Segments podcast. Would love for you guys to check that out. We got a new episode coming up on Tuesday, as we do every single week. There is a trend, and when there's a trend, everybody beeth a joint of it. That's what happened. So a couple days ago, I highlighted how Angel Baby had this character. And now, not that this was necessarily an original idea. ChatGPT is also obviously getting pretty good with the generations, but I noticed it almost completely take over my timeline, like almost entirely. We got OpenSea saying no tariffs on these, highlighting a CryptoPunk, some OpenSea coins, some collectibles, all the other stuff, okay? We got Pudgy Penguins joining up on the vibe. Hey, everybody jumping onto the trend. Is that what we do? That's what we do. We got Wendy O's, like a crypto influencer as well, jumping on with this. And the list goes on and on. We got Steve as well, highlighting the Starbucks character. And I just think overall, it's sort of funny where you see one thing and then everybody jumps on board. And then Charles Hoskinson doing it as well for the crypto DGen. Bored Ape Yacht Club from Garga responding to somebody who says is, in quotes, redacted, still in the pipeline before persistent state. Garga responding, this market is absolute dog shiz right now. If tokens that raised 100 mil are only 40 mil market cap, literally on the day of launch, it does not bode well for new things. Need to use our gunpowder when it's right, and it can have the biggest impact. So if Garga from Bored Ape Yacht Club, which many tout is arguably the biggest NFT collection there is, with the biggest war chest that there is delaying due to market conditions, what does that mean for everybody else? I would argue that this sort of thing should be pushed more so, because people are fine with waiting. If you haven't noticed, in the NFT market, people are holding these things for like 3 years plus, waiting for games, activations, whatever it may be. I would like to think, generally speaking, people are patient if they are at least not lied to. So be honest about these things. If you have something in the pipeline and you're like, listen, we got to hold things off because the world is on edge right now. Like, this is not a crypto specific thing. If you've been scrolling the timeline, oh my God, it is literal doomsday. Now, there's optimists out there. I try to be one, thinking, hey, you know, this maybe is a short-term thing. Or maybe this highlights, hey, where's crypto? And not to spoil the podcast episode, but one of the questions that I asked Matty Beam was, well, look, if physical goods are becoming super expensive to make, and then the shipping costs about them are skyrocketing through the roof, does that not mean that all these companies would maybe want to resort to having digital goods for sale where that's not really an issue? It's kind of a weird take. It's kind of a weird question. But we get into that during that show that'll be out next week. But it's something for you to ponder because I think it's not a horrible thought. But speaking of digital goods, Team Sweeney here from Epic Games, always fighting the good fight. Let them learn how it stings. Sheesh. And this is talking about the tariffs with China. Okay, let them learn how it stings. Apple and Google impose their own 30% tariffs on all app makers worldwide, including American developers, and it needs to stop. Now, what this is just their fee. We're just throwing in tariffs for different words, but obviously it's digital and a little bit different. But imagine everything, and this is why, and something to pay attention to, is if you go and you try to do like a Netflix subscription, if you do a sports subscription, anything through your phone, most of the time it's actually more expensive than if you were to go log in on a desktop and purchase it through there, because they upsell because there's like a 30% charge. So they try to put the 30% charge on the consumer. Apple and Google should get no tariff relief unless they unblock competing app stores and payment processors. Professors. I think he meant processors, but he said professors. Maybe I'm wrong. So Matthew Siegel saying that Circle files for an IPO with a whole bunch of revenues, net income, some numbers. But Coinbase makes more money off USDC than Circle. So Coinbase makes more than the people who created it. And Coinbase also makes more money off Ethereum or ETH than Ethereum. That's all. So if we want to get technical, we're supposed to call it Ether, right? We're supposed to call it Ether. For Ethereum, nobody calls it that. We just call it ETH. We got to get with the ways. Justin, Sony Electronics Singapore has partnered with Crypto.com to enable USDC payments on the Stony store online. Remember Charles Hoskinson when we played that clip the other day saying everybody's going to be integrating crypto? True. Satvic, dinner with venture capitalists last night. Popular consensus is that there isn't anything interesting and novel being built right now that's natively integrating crypto and can't succeed without it. It's all the same infrastructure on new chains or uninvestable ephemeral, I haven't heard that word before, consumer apps. Great opportunity to do something bold and refreshing. So we doing like the same song and dance over and over and over again? Is that the cup of tea of the day? Maybe. But there are going to be winners and losers. And we do have an interesting time within the market. So is downtime good? What sort of innovation is going to come out? Is it actually innovation? Or is somebody going to turn around and transform it in a day? 2 months ago today, this was the other day, but still, the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. 8 weeks later, still can't believe it. Actually insane that happened. Okay, so with NFTs and everything, everybody's trying to do something to make their IP stand out. VFriend's done a whole bunch of stuff. Here's a look at their comics.
We have Practical Peacock. We have Positive Porcupine. We have Optimistic Otter. We have Flexin' Fox. And we got Rare Robot.
So good.
I cannot wait for gift codes to receive this. And I cannot wait for the stories. Or as we say.
So within the VFriends collections, they had this gift goat. And it was one of the characters within it. And every year, every couple of months, the holders get a free drop of something. So it sounds like there's this exclusive comic that's only going for those holders. They've done Drifter Shoots, exclusive photos of him out of the helicopter, I think in New York, and a couple of other art collectibles. But how much do you think a 200 edition comic, I don't know if it's actually 200, but hypothetically 200, comic is worth if VFriend succeeds over the next 10 years plus? Balaji, the guy who bet $1 million that Bitcoin was going to 1 million last year. Remember that? Or maybe it was the year before. Might have been 2 years ago. Time flies. Here is a reframe. AI doesn't take your job. AI allows you to do any job. So a coder can now make films, and a filmmaker can now write code. It allows a non-specialist to get started, but a specialist will be needed for polish. Again, trying to spin things in a positive way. But people are strange. They'll lose their minds over a delayed train, snap over a slow barista, let a spilled coffee ruin their day. But when it comes down to the big stuff, staying in the wrong job, letting their dreams die quietly, wasting years on autopilot, nothing. No urgency, no reaction. We treat small problems like emergencies and real emergencies like background noise. Why do we do that? Smack talk, when moon. That's why we do that, because all we want to know is when moon. So everything just taters us off. Unbelievable. You know, I feel like lately I've been talking in more of like a philosophical way. Like things are happening in the market, but not like that interesting. It's more of announcements of announcements. or announcements that aren't going to necessarily have an effect immediately. Okay, so quick PSA for anybody that's in the Root Network. Obviously, it's tax season, so reminder about that for anybody that's in crypto, period. But Big Hino, hey, Big Hino, what a legend. A year ago, I believe, June 28th, he posted a guide about how to integrate RootScan with Coinly and do all that docs. So I don't know like how exactly to save this for you guys. I'll bookmark it, and if anybody needs me to DM them it specifically, let me know. But this is great. I've used it. It just saves you a lot of time, and it's a really good guide. So shout out Big Kino, and if anybody needs that, if they don't see that off of there, because it was like a year ago, so you're gonna spend forever trying to find it unless you type in specific words you just saw. And then like at Big Kinos. Have you guys ever searched for like a specific tweet on X? It's actually kind of a pain in the ass unless you know exactly the phrase. Anyway, continuing with the Root Network news and Futureverse. Ready Player One is just a snapshot of the blockbuster IP working with Futureverse. We'll be onboarding a star-studded lineup of their IP and integrating story projects into their AI experiences, games, and apps. So Silo, listen. We'll see. ASM Brains did get an uptick. We'll talk about the Think announcement shortly, but again, Futureverse is covering a hell of a lot, and I feel like the only person that talked about it on here. Okay, so Ape Chain. How long is this? This was like super brutally long when I read it. We're gonna go through it, but I'm gonna read it like relatively quick because these are the things that just like happen every day. You think it couldn't get weirder, and then it does, or something bad happens. Hey, everyone from the Freshest Kicks team. Apes don't read, but bear with us. I am offended. We first of all want to thank everyone for all the love and support through all of this. We are a Web 2 company offering a service of painting custom one-of-one shoes for 4 years now. We always want to be integral and honest in everything we do. We have built a reputation in this space where people can trust us, and we are always open to who we are and always have been completely doxxed. We both have been heads down just working on shoes and trying to add value into something cool to the community. We teamed up with what the hell is this? DDoS the Nomad, who is also a trustworthy and honest person. Our heart behind this drop was to do a small collection where we could offer amazing art with utility of free shoes and discounts on custom shoes. So my question as we're going through this, like, do you find this interesting? How crazy do you think the story is going to get? Is this just par for the course? Originally, we had created a 1,111 all one-of-one hand-painted shoes to mint. We were basically going to do just an art drop with attached utility. For Freshest Kicks, we had never done our own drop before, so we sought Blever because of what we heard helping with new drops. As we were working on this, we were in talks with James Limpodow because we were making his custom shoes at the time. We told him about our project and what we were trying to do, and because he's very involved in ApeChain and has done his own drops, we asked for advice, etc. He advised us that we need to generate the project with traits so it's fun for people to trade, etc. So all of us were learning from scratch how to make the traits and generate an NFT series. At this point, he was basically on our team as an advisor and asked to be added to the Blever ticket. Once he realized we had never generated anything before, he kindly offered someone to help generate. So basically, we completely dissected our original project and then worked hard to leave or have it generated. That explains all the pushbacks of the project. Again, so far, so good. During all this, James offered his Alpha Banana dev team to help reach out to his communities for collabs on whitelists. He did a lot of work helping us with all the things that we completely trusted him. Because this was new to all of us, after everything was generated, the files were sent to us to look over to make sure we were happy with how the NFTs turned out and to look through for any mistakes. Once approved, the files were sent to us and we were sent the Blever team. We are not here to play ignorant or dumb, but we honestly didn't know that the files they sent the numbers are directly coordinated with the NFTs. We just assume once minted, everything gets randomized. Because doing this our first time, we never thought it would be fair for even founders to know the numbers. Because then, wouldn't everything have the possibility of leaks? So basically, what we have discovered, what happened is that James got access to the metadata and shared with his Alpha Banana team. In turn, they got sniped and stolen basically from people who should have a fair chance in this mint. So from my understanding of this, they did a mint, they didn't randomize it. The people working on the team to do that knew all of the rares and were just like, yo, go out and buy all the rares before they reveal. Man, isn't this space unbelievable? And this is on the premise of somebody helping them out in there, and they're like, no, let me go do you dirty on that. So unbelievable. We're not going through the rest of it. Holy smokes, it's hard to read fast, but let's keep going. Drew, Adam Hollander. What's that little shit next to my name? It is the OpenSea logo. NFTs. Excited to share that I've joined OpenSea as Chief Marketing Officer. Been closely working with Devin and the OS team for the last several weeks. The people, product, strategy, and ethos have exceeded my wildest expectations. So again, this is super cool. Adam's got a whole bunch of takes on NFTs all the time. You want algae. Sorry, excuse me. What in the hell is going on? How are we doing? So this is interesting because I've made comments about status symbols and people that are able to participate in a lot, right? So you have the people that have crazy ass jobs, right? In person that have funding. Doesn't really matter what happens in Web3. Then there's people that have done well in NFTs, but don't necessarily have like a whole ton of capital on the side, but they're still within the space. And what's interesting with Adam is I feel that guy had a crazy gig in person or just like really, really hit it big with NFTs to the point that he can continue because I see this guy jumping into new mints every single day. So it does show that it is potentially advantageous to get yourself out there. Obviously, you don't need to like be a participant in every single mint, but if you can be, then certain opportunities arise. But I mean, just putting yourself out there, right? Making tweets, doing stuff. If you're looking for opportunities within the space, I think there's a ton of them. Just put yourself out there. Smack Talk. What's going on? Via Bored Ape Gazette, breaking news. Yuga Labs just announced that the Paired Ape staking pool will become a Bored Ape Kennel Club only staking pool. Wait, what the hell? Hold on. Announced that the Paired Ape staking pool will become a Bored Ape Kennel only staking pool once ape stakes move into... What the hell is the ape... The Paired Ape staking pool? I'm confused. So what does that mean? Like the Paired Ape? Because so they're removing Bored Apes from being able to stake, and it's going to be only Bored Kennel. I need more on that. Give me the lowdown. We're here for a couple more minutes, of course. So let me know. Obvious social media tip. This one, I don't know if I agree with. No one's going to engage with your content if you don't engage with anyone else's first. So, I mean, somebody responds saying, it's wild, that needs to be said, common logic you'd imagine. I don't think you need to... I don't know if this is true. I mean, if you're starting at like ground zero and nobody knows who you are, all right, maybe, right? But I think if you're talking about a niche subject or something that people care about, like people will interact with your stuff. And also, and like, okay, this is actually like a point almost with Futureverse. Do you remember when Krista invited you and Gyuzu up, and Gyuzu's like hanging out in bed, being like, yeah, I don't really have anything to say. I kind of have like some concerns. And then his signal cut out. And like, you go up and you're like, yeah, I wasn't really planning on talking either, but like, there's a lot of people that just want to be consumers or listeners. They don't want to have to think of something insightful to say or have to add to the conversation. They want to just sit back, consume, and make thoughts of things. It's not like... You can still put thoughts out there. People read it. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're always going to like interact with things. Sure, this will say that this would help you, right? Have people interact because people will be like, oh, like this person's talking with my stuff. Maybe I should give them things back. But yeah, bros are salty. The boys aren't showing love. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that take entirely. Okay, jumping into the Think Agents. 0.27 ETH mint. Holy smokes. Is this like not a record? I don't think I've seen a mint that's been this high. We're talking about just under $500 US. Twitter's a lot more creators and consumers compared to other apps. Yeah, that's a very good point. So within this, it's open for 24 hours, which I was kind of surprised about because the way that they've gone into this is saying that these agents are for everyone. So having it only a 24-hour mint didn't really make sense, but Jesse responded, who's a part of the Think team, saying, want to keep the beta small but accessible. So this is a beta. It's not the full launch of it. There'll be other opportunities to get a standard agent as we scale. All info in the docs that we linked. Okay, cool. They're removing BOAC from staking pool. Only dogs will be stakeable via Bored Ape Gazette article. Why are they removing Bored Ape from the staking pool? Is that not going to piss people off? What? Huh? What am I missing here? Is this good? Are people fudding? That seems like an odd thing. Unless they've realized that they have absolutely nothing for dogs coming. Because the whole concept with dogs was to be having utility within heavy metal, in which they offloaded to the company that I'm... No, not Wayfinder. What the hell is the company that has all heavy metal? And you get assets. Why do I not remember? Damn, I haven't seen them on my timeline in a little. Also, I follow these people. I don't know why X always shows that I'm like not following. It's friggin' chalked. Anyway, LV50 saying some of the insights here. So the bundle, you're going to get a Think agent. You're going to get Think tokens, 5,000 to 2,500. They're having like variability within this, right? So how to sell NFTs because I make NFTs. Yeah, you just got, listen, you got to get the word out. You got to get the word out. Art by Buy Basic, just like 140 followers. I've seen the team make comments to some people saying like, oh, you don't really know like about the artist or anything. I was like, I don't think anybody does, respectfully, of course. So I don't really know what to value that as. It's got some other collections that are trading for like 3 ETH plus. The Think Tank access, which I guess you get a stake, have components of it. Saw somebody say that it was like the Vortex for rewards, which I'm not really sure. We'll kind of see. Opportunity to receive 10,000 bonus Think tokens randomly dropped, which is cool. And more Gen 1s will also receive a free agent in June. And then they have the Asto to Think stuff and all these exchanges. I don't know. I really don't know what to think about it. I mean, part of me is like, do you want to get in the early access? Or are these first editions going to be anything? The team really has a lot of things that are hyped up about it. One of the clips that we played before was them talking about how somebody said, and I saw somebody comment saying the CEO of NVIDIA said that they were like a top 5 project. So the people that they said they were talking to, which they tried to be mysterious, somebody else said that it was NVIDIA CEO, which if that's the case, okay, cool. And then Aaron's saying that there's going to be some other stuff with it. So again, kind of cool. All right. I love this space. You know, the economy is cooked with NBA YouTube clips are in the green. This is a quote post of somebody saying my Top Shot portfolio is doing better than my stock portfolio. Honestly, when you look at a lot of these collections and stuff, like sure, they can go down like a lot. But I mean, a lot of them are kind of already bottomed, and the people that are holding this stuff are kind of just like, yeah, I'm holding it. So oddly enough, we might be in great shape, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. Palace with a good take. Crypto is an order of magnitude bigger in capital, talent, investors, and users than when I entered in DeFi summer of 2020. 5 years from now, it'll be another order of magnitude bigger than it is today in all categories. The road there won't be smooth. Guaranteed, but we'll get there. Stick around if you want to participate in shaping the journey for our humanity. Coming on chain. Yeah, we got Algae on chain for humanity. We got Smack Talk on chain for humanity. That's crazy. And it's funny though, because this is like just like nice, elegantly put. There's a shit ton of people here. There's going to be a shit ton more people 5 years from now. And it's just going to happen. And you get, like, not only do you get addicted in this kind of stuff, you just realize all of the things that are happening, especially with AI. You're just like, the innovation is happening here. Sure, it's happening off the web, but everything is getting digitized and tokenized. I feel like Top Shot and NFL all day are underrated. I agree. I think they just screwed up on doing too many moments and stuff, and they got greedy at certain points. If they just went back to more limited edition things, not trying to go for the scale. And this was a thought that I tried pushing more like a year ago, but for a lot of these, it's all about mass consumer, right? Like we have so many things in Web3 that are like these niche communities, but for these brands that are coming in, they're not wanting to have these like niche one-off NFT, like couple of NFTs are trading at a couple thousand. They want people that are just whipping through transactions, having, you know, millions upon millions getting traded every single day if they can. And so my thought was just, they're going to go for a more expansive audience. That's not necessarily happened yet. An NBA, an NFL all day, they're like kind of teetering to go like that mass adoption. But for the people that are there, I feel like they need to rein it in just a little bit. Okay, so this is an absolutely god-awful story, and I was pretty shooken up from it because, like, I know Phil. Phil was the guy that introduced me to Bored Ape Yacht Club back in the day. He tagged me in the giveaway for there when I was streaming NBA Top Shot stuff. I've met him at Ape Fest, and this is tough. So, yeah, I guess let's get into it. Stay vigilant, always. I was coming home from coaching on a night in early December. Had just played really well and I was feeling good. Got home and checked in with the wife who was putting the girls to bed. Decided to take the dog for a walk as I typically like to do in the evening around 9 p.m. Changed clothes real quick, grabbed the leash and grabbed my AirPods so I could listen to Spaces as we walked. Opened our front door to see a man with a medical mask coming towards our door with a McDonald's bag and was going to attempt a fake Uber Eats order. When he saw the door open, 2 others joined and pushed me back inside. Worst timing ever. 3 men, all masked, 2 guns. As my dog barked, my mind raced. I was obviously terrified for my family and was willing to give them whatever they were looking for. What felt like an eternity ended in the cops rolling up to our front door in 5 minutes and later catching all 3. As they held a gun to my head and beat me, they continued to ask for my keys, my crypto keys. I was targeted and doxxed to this trio of thugs, all because of being a somewhat public figure in this space. And this is what's kind of weird about it, is Phil is not a very massive personality. He's done live streams before, but this is like the last guy I would think would have ever an issue like this. This story could have ended a bajillion times worse. I'm so thankful I was the only one in our home that had any interaction with them. I can't imagine my young kids or wife seeing any of what happened. Since that, our world has been flipped upside down. Our living situation is unresolved as we attempt to make a change that was out of left field. It's all been horrendous. This has been extremely traumatic and made me step away from content, made me much less active, made me sleep a lot less. I'm attempting to make my way back into the space through content, but I'm going to need some help. I was a target because of crypto. I never imagined this experience ever happening to me. You may also feel like it can never happen to you. So Phil's in the States, but we've seen this happen literally all over the globe. And I'm like genuinely, like when I read this, I was pretty shooken up for a few hours because I'm like, damn, like really glad Phil's still here, but like what are we supposed to do in that situation? And then like I really start thinking about it. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, Phil, I'm pretty sure has complained about how he doesn't make enough money because he's a teacher, right? So like I've seen him complain on the timeline about how teachers need to get paid more. I don't think he's a massive trader. So at most, he's got like a Bored Ape or maybe 2. So like let's say the Ape, the Mutant, like $40,000 between the 2. Okay, like cool. Like that's a decent amount of money, right? If we're just talking about 2 things. But you see people on the streets, they got cars that are massive. We got people wearing watches that are worth as much out in public all the time. And you don't really have that same situation. I've seen, robbers and stuff going to jewelry stores at malls. And I mean, even in Canada, I've seen TikTok videos of like some crazy ass things happening in GTA of car thefts and all of this. And it's like, wow, like what do you actually do in any of these situations? And so Bo had a thread that was talking about a couple of other ones if you haven't seen. So kidnapping for ransom. The Ledger co-founder was kidnapped. Allegedly had a finger cut off and was held for ransom until the French GIGN rescued him. That was a ridiculous story. He talks about the Phil situation. 3 guys with machetes robbed a man in the UK at a home for $4.3 million last year. Amaranth, a Twitch streamer, was attacked by 3 armed intruders after exposing her 8-figure Bitcoin portfolio on stream. This person's friends allegedly attacked and stole their crypto, bragging about your on-chain success. IRL can bring you as much trouble as bragging about it online. Now, again, this is a thing where, I don't know, like, you talk to most people, they're really not holding that much of a bag, right? Like, most things are down horrendously, and it's wild to think, like, damn, like, people are going that far out of their way. And in Canada as well, the CEO of WonderFi and a bunch of the crypto exchanges, he was kidnapped at, like, lunchtime, going for, like, $1 million ransom. And so, it's like, damn. Is this where, like, you just have, like, the AI figure, you type in everything that you want it to say, and you're like, poof, I'm gone from the internet? Like, actually, like, what the hell do you do? And the thing that's like weirder is those are like 4 situations that are pretty mainstream, right? And like Phil is clearly, compared to those other ones, not a big figure whatsoever. And then you have people that are massive people that are, like the Vitaliks, Charles Hoskinson, go down the list, Gavin Woods, all those. But you don't really hear any kind of issues security-wise from those. And those are the people you think you'd be afraid of. But maybe they have their own security team. I don't exactly know. It's wild. But I don't want to end necessarily on a bad note. So instead of saying you're welcome, start saying my pleasure. Not an issue. Happily. Say less. You got it. Anytime. It's an honor to serve you. I would do anything you ask. Your wish is my command. Change up the vocabulary. Change up your life. What we do. Heading into the weekend, thank you so much for coming through. Mr. Young Algae, Smack Talk, Rakesh Singur, thank you for coming through as well. And anybody watching the VOD, hope you guys have a phenomenal Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you Monday. Don't forget, check out the podcast down below if you want to. And otherwise, talk soon. Peace.